fake it and show it. No. Gotta pull your own weight if you reap it, you sow it. Weight out here. Yeah, gotta plant it and grow it. That's drop that artificial food, come to eat with a poet.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Elena the Poet, and we are back with another episode of Eat with the Poet. Yes, we are live again in Sunrise, Florida at Gigi's Music Cafe. Shout out to Miss Gigi Brown for rocking with us from day one. Real quick, we're going to get right into the topic today. I got some stuff that I want to talk about, and I got some amazing guests in the building. So today we are going to talk about a subject that I feel needs to be discussed. And not because at one point an incident surrounding the topic was trending, but because I have questions and I have answers. I have opinions and I have facts. LGBT community, is the message love, or is it spreading unconscious hate? Now, on July 25th, 2021, rapper DaBaby performed at the Rolling Loud Festival in Miami and was thereafter deemed a homophobic following his comments on stage.
You didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2-3 weeks. Put a cell phone light in the air. Lady, if your pussy smell like water, put a cell phone light in the air. Fellas,
lights up.
Fellas, if you ain't sucking nigga dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lights in the
Let's
air.
be real about this shit.
Yeah, keep it fucking real.
Some of y'all niggas suspect as a motherfucker. Let's be real.
Now, to me, it matches his energy. It fits his stage character or his real life personality, you know, if you ask me. Bag of opinions. If you like him to begin with, then his comments don't move you in a negative direction. If I were judging this from a hip hop perspective, right? I would have to say it reminded me of the energy in the room at a freestyle battle, like a real grimy freestyle battle. And the one up is getting the crowd hype and setting them up for his next set of bars. Was it concert / festival / for the culture vibes? Probably not. Depends on who's bagging the opinion. Long story short, he was partially canceled and made to feel the backlash on a larger scale than he's ever felt before. Like Aaliyah say, he rocked the boat. Listen, LGBT community came for him, okay? Now we are going to talk about that with my special guest coming up right after this. Stay right there and you better subscribe. Eat with the Poet. Hey guys, it's your girl Elena the Poet, and by now you've heard of my show Eat with the Poet. It is deep conversations with South Florida's known unknown gem. You guys need to go to YouTube, go to Elena Poet, subscribe, hit the like, and drop a comment. Watch a few shows. But listen, we on a journey. And we doing this together. Subscribe.
Pay attention to Elena and her podcast.
What's up, y'all? We are back. Yes. And we are back at the table with my amazing, wonderful, special guest today. All right. So, look, I be having to do this to the right of me. We have G. Now, I could tell you a lot of things because we follow each other on social media. We've done things together in the past throughout the LGBT community events. Just always been such an amazing spirit. She's a public figure. And Arthur, you have a book, right?
I don't have a book, but not yet.
Okay.
But I do write. I write quite a bit.
Okay,
yes.
But you do so many different things. I see you do countless interviews.
Yes.
Talk to these people. Tell them who you are, what you got going on, and where they can find you.
Thanks, first of all, for having me. It's a pleasure being here. I do a lot. I produce an event called Thou Art Woman, where we use the arts to celebrate LGBTQ women here in Fort Lauderdale, and we've also gone virtual in some ways. As I said, I write. I write for a magazine called Island Origins, where we share from the perspective of the Caribbean community. I'm Jamaican. Rap.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I also I could go on and on. So, but yeah, I mean, I had a journey that took me to become an LGBTQ advocate, and I share a lot about that journey.
Good.
and just pretty much really passionate about making our community more visible. I had years where I couldn't be myself. I couldn't be openly gay or openly LGBTQ. So once I came out, I just been all over it. Just really making it better for all of our community as much as possible.
You hit the ground running.
Definitely.
For lack of better words. All right. And to the left of me, she is my sister. She is a queen. She is also very special to me because she is a poet. And y'all know how I get down by them poets. So her name is Serica. She has so many amazing things going on. She wears like 17,000 different hats, about 10 pairs of shoes, and I get chills. I can't even like tell y'all everything about this lady. I'm gonna just go ahead on and let y'all know that this is Serica. Talk to these people, tell them who you are, where they can find you, what you got going on.
Okay. So, well, first, thank you. I've been waiting for my invitation to come here, so I feel official now.
Yes, yes.
Put that on the resume.
Thank you.
But my name is Serica. I am a poet here in South Florida. My most important job, I'm a mother of 3. I have 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy, and they're my hardest and most rewarding job. Like I say, I'm a poet. I also am a published author. I have a nonprofit, the Art of Community, and I focused on rural areas, bringing the arts to small towns and areas that don't have access to the arts. Small towns needs poetry too. That's my baby, and we take poets and artists to small towns. I'm a small town girl myself, so we didn't have platforms and stuff like that. So my goal is to be the bridge to small town, in between small towns and major cities and artists, to get them to come to the small towns. And I do some other things too, but I'm gonna stop talking now because we here for a reason.
Yes. No, I love it because that's what it is.
Yeah.
And I say it every time. Like, Black people, we can do like 75 things a piece.
Yes.
We are so gifted and so talented. So we could just sit here and talk about all the things that you do, and then you'll start remembering other things that you got going on too.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Right? Because we be forgetting what we we forget what we do.
Yeah.
So we needed to talk about this. They're going to be bringing the food out soon, but we could just jump right into it. LGBT. And I have questions, and I needed you here because I can't get into this conversation without it being balanced. Now, everything that we do, you know what I'm saying, unless we are scientists and doctors, doing a whole bunch of facts, we're just going to be some Black educated sisters up here with some opinions and different things that we feel. And I feel that it is important to put seeds back into the earth and to plant things into people that will be helpful. So that's what these conversations are about, and that's what they're for. All right. So now, remember, I was mentioning earlier about the baby and everything. Did you watch the video, or did you see
it? I saw clips of it on on Instagram, and then while I was sitting waiting, I went and read some things that he said in response to why he said what he said. So yeah, I saw it, and to be perfectly honest, without having an opinion on either side of the LGBT conversation we're having today, what he said was very vulgar. And it was misleading. It was miseducated. It's what rappers say. They say a lot of misguided, uneducated things.
Correct.
And, the environment was created for that because he is the artist.
Correct.
He brings that
That's
energy
right.
wherever he goes. It's nothing new. He didn't say anything he hasn't been saying. It just now it caught the attention of mainstream media. And he has that's just his. He's young, you know. He's very outspoken. He's an artist, and I am an artist, and I am completely against censoring artists, because I think when we censor artists, this is an opportunity for him to learn if he opens himself up to learn.
Yes.
But when we try to censor artists, we take away the opportunities to educate others and ourselves about things. So yeah. What he said, I don't rock with what he said at all. But, you know, I understanding the environment, the artist, and the fact, what you said was like, you really?
Now, you had an assignment. Did you watch the video?
Yes, ma'am. I watched the video. Yeah.
And what'd you think about it?
Well, I appreciate what Serica said, because she's very much on
But let me ask you,
with,
were you instantly offended when you heard it or watched it? That's the one thing. Because we gotta worry about if LGBT individual was offended instantly when you watched it, and then tell me what you think.
I'm sorry. I wanted to say this because he also said something about women.
Yeah, overall
about women that was also miseducated.
So I felt and you remember the context in which I'm watching it. So you told me about it. I did not hear about the baby. I don't know him. I might look young. I come from old school hip hop, 1970s. I come from Bronx, New York, into Kingston, Jamaica. So I'm like Slick Rick, Biggie Smalls, back in the day. Okay. I know people now current, like of course Jay-Z and so on, but I don't know the baby. So I took a look after you called me to see. So yeah, it is offensive, without a doubt. Like Serica said, this is a part of what we've seen in hip hop music, and what's called the oldest sibling of hip hop is dancehall music from Jamaica, right? And that has had even harsher language and a lot of homophobia. Does it mean it's right? Definitely not. When I saw the video, I think I'm at a good point, because now I'm seeing like the backlash, and I'm seeing his apologies, and I think big picture, it became a good opportunity to address the things he's talking about. Right. I also feel that what he's talking about is a reflection of what a lot of people feel. Now, he doesn't understand the power he has, because he has a lot of power when he takes that stage to influence a lot of people. So that could be dangerous and harmful, and that's why he got in trouble.
I think he does understand the power he has. I think he just doesn't understand how to use it. You know what I'm saying?
So I don't think he understood either how dangerous that language is, right? So just going back to dancehall, we had what's going on, we had this major in the 90s, Buju Banton with the song Boom Bye Bye. And dancehall artists were across the world, were banned, and Jamaicans are like, what's happening? This is our culture, we should be able to do this, freedom of speech. But it's like coming to understanding that it's dangerous, it's harmful, right? I was a DJ. I did college radio. I was a DJ back in vinyl days. I played Boom Bye Bye. I didn't understand that when I played that as perpetuating homophobia, as perpetuating violence against a whole community, and it becomes really dangerous.
Now, where do you think that stems from? Do you think that stems from a place of hate, or do you think that just stems from a place of what a person was taught and what they basically feel? Because wouldn't that be an example of someone just not using their words properly, but just trying to express something that they feel as they were taught, something like the Boom Bye Bye song? You know, do you think do you think it stems from a place of hate, like genuine hate, or how do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know if he has a genuine hate. He's definitely sounds like someone who's uncomfortable with the community. The way he spoke about it, HIV/AIDS, he's uninformed for sure, and he's very. I could tell he's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable? Is he there?
A lot of Americans are though, so uninformed.
Yeah, a lot of people.
You know,
overall,
it's such a sensitive thing to talk about. It's almost like religion, you know, for lack of better words, because you want to be very, very careful. And the reason why you want to be careful is just because of people's feelings. You know what I'm saying?
I think most of, I have a couple friends that I have a conversation with every Wednesday. We have lunch and we eat and just talk about things. I said two friends first, because one is a middle-aged Greek woman and the other one is a middle-aged Jewish woman. And they come to my house or I go to their house and we talk about things, and so many things. And yesterday's conversation, it was about racism, but the way she started the conversation off is like, I wanted to ask you this question because you are, it's just like having a conversation to talk about the LGBT community. And I compare that to, talking to my Black friend about it. And I said to her, me personally, I don't like the comparison of the two, because that to me creates that, it also creates division, because we're not mutually exclusive, that we have to compare them to see the validity of each one. Like, just tell me you want to have a conversation with me about me being a Black woman, and not carry it. However, the conversation around the LGBT community is so potent, and it has landmines all around it. There's so many things about it that heterosexual people don't know. There's so many things that's want to be said, that people want to be educated about it. And I said to her when she came to me to ask me the question as her Black friend, I'm going to be open to talking to you about it. But if a random Karen come up to me to ask me this question, I don't have to have that conversation with her, because first, I don't know your motives or your intentions. You don't know me. And when we try to have intimate conversations with so many people, we don't see the humanity in each other. I'm sitting next to you. I'm sitting right here. I can see you as a person. So it's not that I'm going to watch what I'm going to say. I am aware, conscious that this is a human being sitting right here, regardless of what side she sits on or where she sits. And I think
what
a lot
her
of
sexual
that happens.
preference is.
It happens so much because we're having these very intimate and very sensitive conversations on social media. And these conversations make people attack. And someone's always looking for the clever thing to say, and the fingers go to typing and everything, and there's no feeling in social media. There's no way to detect that.
And that's the thing. It's like, and it's such a machine, social media, because what happens is it's the reason why this whole mess got started in the first place. Somebody recorded it, uploaded it, and the things went wild and went crazy, and Twitter blows up, and all these different things blow up, and then you really get to see how people feel. You really get to see what people want to say, and all this hate begins to spew, and then you have to wonder, okay, well, what was the motive behind it? And to me, it's bigger than just the baby, because I don't want to make the conversation solely about his mistake. For me, it's about just in general, the entire energy around, and see, I've been to Woman Thou Art Woman. I'm about to say Woman Thou Art.
She performed. You were great. She performed at Thou Art Woman. We do a lot of open mic and spoken word performances, and you killed it. You crushed it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
No, you remember Woman Thou Art Loose with TD
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's you got mixed up. Okay.
I've heard of the event,
right?
So I always it's like a spinoff of Woman Thou Art.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Right, because it's a big event. You'll hear about it.
Yeah.
But in regards to that, I've been in the room. And I feel such a love energy.
Yes, thank you.
The energy is so warm and so welcoming, right? That at one point I was asking God, I'm like, okay, God, you know how I do my poetry, you know what it is. And I'm like, is this okay for me? And I was like, love feels like love.
It does.
No matter what, I'm like, I gotta be able to just do that and be loved no matter what. So, said all that to say, when things begin to move around in the world, and particularly in America, when things begin to move around and we begin to see how LGBT community has grown so big to wherein we know that they've grown into a very powerful community.
Yes.
Okay, very powerful.
Yes.
Politically, just in every realm of how we function and move in this thing.
Yes.
And so what happens with that is, my question is, when we are as artists and people, or just people in general that are not always educated or always informed begin to use these platforms to say opinions or do different things or however we express ourselves. How do we determine when the community, goes against you or tries to completely?
I think that's a great question.
Yeah, shut you down because of something you may feel or have said. How fair is that? What type of energy is that? Is what I'm trying to figure out. Because I don't understand it.
I think it's not so difficult because it's pretty much like if you put yourself in that person's shoes, would you want to be spoken about that way? Right? Mm-hmm. So if something, it's like discrimination is discrimination, whoever you are. Okay. Right? So whether it's against me as a black woman or as a Jamaican woman or as a masculine woman or as a lesbian, discrimination is discrimination. Something offensive is something offensive. So you could think about it like if he put himself in the shoes of anybody he was speaking about, nobody likes to be insulted. Right? Mm-hmm. No one likes to be attacked. Mm-hmm. So when you think about it, if you're going to say something that's putting down anybody, nobody wants that, right? So I don't think it's that hard. I noticed Serica said landmines, and I know that there are some extremes for the community that's getting hard for people. And I tell people in the community, things like pronouns have become very important. So someone who's maybe offended by you've used the wrong pronoun, right? Mm-hmm. For me personally, I don't see that as something as offensive, but somebody might find it very offensive. Yeah, so that could be harder. Yeah. So that might be a landmine you're talking about. That is. So pronouns. So something also new. And 5 years from now, that might not be a thing. Right. So that, to be fair, could be harder. But anything to put down somebody that you could tell, like you put yourself in that person's shoes, you would be offended. Mm-hmm. So what he said, for example, some of y'all are doing this in the parking lot. If that was man and woman, you wouldn't like to hear that about yourself. If someone said, hey, y'all, if they're talking about a heterosexual couple, you wouldn't have liked that, right? So you could tell, when there's an insult. Mm-hmm. We feel that, But, I'd have to say, I'd have to say me personally, just because of how hip-hop culture is and how I've seen how it has changed over, a course of years from, to the mumble rap and all these different things. The things these kids say don't shock me anymore. No, they don't offend me. They don't. Shocked. And the reason why, I'll tell you what, because I'll do my personal opinion, because that's the only way I can really truthfully express, it and it be genuine. But what I'll say is those things don't bother me and don't offend me because I'm working towards something bigger in life, just in general. I understand that, that everything we do in life is spiritual because we are spiritual beings. Okay. And this is how I'm looking at it. So certain things I've learned in life how to balance certain things. Certain things don't matter to me as much as the next thing. Now, when you talk to me about something, and this is why I can understand where you're coming from, because when you talk to me about something that I love and something that, is close to my heart, and you say something that it could be any little thing, and I might get easily offended and feel some type of way. Let's just say poetry, you know what I'm saying? Or let's get into a conversation about poetry and you saying something that I don't like. That's going to make me feel some type of way. So to that, I can agree. But the reason why it doesn't really move me, or when I heard it, it didn't move me, is because it wasn't nothing that could have directly offended me. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I think that's what a lot of people who were looking at his side probably were saying, were like, well, what's the big deal? You know what I'm saying? So this is the big deal becomes when what he says can hurt a lot of people. Not just hurt like you hurt my feelings, right? There's been a lot of violence, physical violence against the LGBT community, right? Mm-hmm. Lesbians have gotten raped. What about wings? I was wondering, I don't know if you can eat wings live, but recorded. Girl, you better eat. Okay. Eat with a power. I'm going to eat, and I like wings here. So, and you like shrimp and grits, right? Oh, that sounds good, yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So people literally lose their lives. People are brutalized. So it's not just a comment of something where you hurt my feelings. This is about people's safety. Mm-hmm. It really is about people's safety. And when we talked, I know he commented on HIV and AIDS and said, people could die 2-3 weeks. That's not true. That's probably 1982. Mm-hmm. So that stigmatizes people who have people living with HIV and AIDS for people which there's already a stigma. That's that it's not as bad as it was 20 years ago, but
Right.
it's still that stigma.
Right.
So you could say to somebody who like, I don't want to get tested, I don't want to know, or I got it, but I'm not going to the doctor. I don't want people to know. It could make it really unsafe for people with HIV, people with AIDS, and for LGBTQ people.
Now, did you want to? Because what I want to know is, even with all that, like, you know, as people, you know, throughout life, you as children, you know, you go to school, you hear about bullies, you hear about all these different things where in life we will be affected by certain things. How do we understand, you know, like, because what I kind of want to, I just kind of want to try to figure out, like, what it is that makes them want, or makes the community want to go after a person, like literally attack them, to show them like, you came after me, you said this to me, because that's kind of how it feels anytime anybody says something about LGBT community.
I think, well, I've seen people make something small really big with anything to do with the LGBT community. And I call them, I say it as a joke, and some people may take offense. That's the alphabet people. You know,
yeah, I know it's a growing alphabet.
Yeah, it's like it keeps adding.
I know, that's why I was like, should I say
LGBTQ, and then it's like another one got
I was
added.
like, should I? You was like, no, it's cool. You can say just ending with a T, because I want to make sure.
Well, some people say, I mean, like you said, alphabet LGBTQ plus. When you have the plus, that it means it includes anybody else. So you can say the plus.
So I mean, there's this within the heterosexual community, which now we've become a own community now.
Yeah.
That has not even been identified as a community that is facing discrimination because of what is happening with the LGBT community. And to me, that's why division happens, because now we have the LGBT community. And then I just saw something on social media where there's like now this forming heterosexual community that's coming around. And everything seems to be reaction after reaction after reaction after reaction, and there's no conversation.
You gotta agree with that.
And what happens? What's happening, in my opinion, with the LGBT community is that there are a lot of things that are happening within it that is also affecting outside of it, and it's making heterosexuals feel like they cannot even speak on something if it's their opinion, if it was how they were raised, or whatever it is. You can't say anything without it possibly now being labeled as hatred, you know, or I think it keeps people, and now fosters up some type of resentment and anger that now I can't even say anything without them being able to counsel, and it creates this them versus they, and it's very toxic.
It is.
It's very toxic.
And that's why I was saying, is it love or is it unconscious? Meaning like you don't know, you're not aware that's what's being put out there.
So I'm going to say, I was you one day. I was you. I was a heterosexual woman. I married a man. I had a family, traditional. My sons are now grown, 24 and 20, and beautiful young men.
Yes.
And as I said, I was a DJ. And so it's interesting when you call me, because I had a conversation when I got hired as a DJ, and this woman said to me, don't play Boom Bye Bye. And I was furious. Don't play Boom Bye Bye? Why is she trying to stop me? This is my freedom of speech. This is my culture. This is what we believe. That's what I really felt. But it took time for me to actually be informed how it was dangerous. This is a song that literally said, I don't know, I mean, to translate it, it's really, it's encouraging killing gay men, right? And overall would be, back then it would just be the gay community, right? And a lot of the music had that kind of messaging. I grew up with it. I celebrated it. I put my hand in the air, brap, 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 Batman for dead. Yeah, I had all that, right? But I didn't have the understanding that when we're doing that we're literally hurting a community. That people, you're hurting this person who's afraid to be gay. That person's afraid to be gay because I don't want to be a part of that. So that's one person you're hurting, people in being themselves. And then you're actually hurting people who get beaten, people who get raped. Angeline Jackson, a woman in Jamaica, who's when Barack Obama went and he actually acknowledged her, she was literally raped by men who said, "We going to straighten you up. This is what you." So it's actually leads to real violence. So it's not just I can't say whatever I want. It's, are you saying things that lead to us not being safe? But I understand your position because I was there. I was there. I was upset.
I think I'm saying, not even think. I am saying that in order for change to happen, conversation has to happen. And I don't believe in invalidating anybody's feelings.
Hold that thought. Don't go nowhere. We're going to finish this conversation up on part 2. Eat with a Poet.
Peace to all the queens. What's up out there? We live. Tapping in. I need everybody to tap in. Cool people. Eat with a Poet. Subscribe. Never leak it or show it. Gotta pull your own weight. If you reap it, you sow it. Come eat with a Poet. Gotta plant it and grow it. Drop that artificial food. Come and eat with a Poet. Kicking words with the poets, I get lyrical. Physical is great, my journey now is spiritual. Peace to the queens in the nation and foreign. I would like to introduce you to Elena the Poet. Stayed down in the jungle like some bare feet. Now when we toast, ace of spade, no more bare feet. Poking beans, Dade County, yeah, I'm still hood. Spread love, feed the homeless cause it feels good. Now pay attention, this is knowledge of wealth. Throw the school books away, this is knowledge of self. Quiet is kept, listen, this the Revolution broadcast. Now pay attention to Elena and her podcast. Never leak it and show it. Gotta pull your own weight. If you reap it, you sow it. Yeah, gotta plant it and grow it. Drop that artificial food. Come and eat with a Poet. Come eat with a Poet. Shout out to Elena the Poet. Cool people. See, I need everybody to tap in, subscribe, spread love. You know what I'm talking about? Black power. Black power. Black queens. Black kings. Shout out to all the kings. All queens. Forward movement.